Hi, welcome to the beginning of our Power Users video series. I just want to make sure that you understand right up front, this is not a set of videos intended for people who are power users, who know all the tricks and shortcuts and they can manipulate computers with ease. What this is really about is people who use their computer a lot. If you work on your computer at your keyboard several hours a day, then these are the kinds of tips and tricks that might help you become more powerful users of your computer. You may be more efficient and more effective and have a better use of your time. At least that's the goal. There will be 4 videos built around different themes, and I hope that you find some of this helpful. Let me start by giving you 3 thoughts as an overview. Number 1, what gives power and extra skill to one person could be a complete time suck to another person. So everything that I talk about here is not going to be for you. Hopefully some of it will be. You'll need to pick and choose, find the things, experiment, and figure out what helps you be more efficient with your time on the computer. Hopefully everyone will find at least something that is helpful. Secondly, many of these tools are extremely useful, but they do require a learning curve. So be prepared to take some time to configure a piece of software or to use the same technique over and over a few times until it becomes more of a habit than something that you really have to stop and think about. That's what will really make this useful for you. And finally, keep in mind that tools and techniques are always changing. Every time we learn something, the company that makes it changes it up. So you have to continue to learn as you go. You need to be able to modify a tool as the tool evolves, or even jump to a new tool when the time is right. So keep these things in mind as we work through these different aspects of becoming a power user. Some of the first things that I do want to show you are built right into the operating system of your computer. You're going to find them right here on your desktop using the Finder software. And as we talk about this, let me remind you again, we may not all have exactly the same operating system installed on our computer. I'm recording this on my desktop computer at work, but I also have a work laptop. They don't have the exact same software. So yours might be slightly different. The things that I show you might look slightly different. So look at the concept, look at what I'm showing you. Don't get tied to exactly how it looks because it could be just a bit different. But the things that I am showing you today are things that have been around for several versions of the operating system, so you will be able to do these things. I'm going to start by coming up to my hard drive and opening up this window here. Right here in this window, there are a lot of beneficial things you can do to speed up your work, and I want to show those to you. First, I want to make sure that you are looking at your window in the way that you want to look at it. You can control that with these buttons here in the front. If you like the big icons, you can see that. If you like a list view, if you like a column view. You can also control that with the view window, whether it's list, columns, icons. That gallery view, that's nice for pictures, but it's not very useful for other things. I like the column view so that as I click on things, I can see where I'm going, what's my next thing. I can backtrack with folders. I like that version. Pick the one that works best for you because that's how you will find yourself working more quickly. Now, while we're talking about these buttons right here on the toolbar, let's change them. There are buttons there that I am not ever going to use. I don't use this action menu. I have a faster way to get to those commands. I don't use this to share things. I share through Google Drive. I don't edit my tags because I don't really use tags. So, what do I use a lot? I create new folders a lot. When I'm in my documents and I need to create a new folder, I'm always creating something new. The other thing I do is I delete things a lot. As I finish with something, I throw it away. I want buttons that help me do the quick and easy things. Let's get rid of the buttons I don't use at all. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to come right up here into an empty spot in my toolbar and I'm going to right click. And that's going to let me customize this toolbar. Now, you may be seeing it like this with both the icon and the name. That's the default for the Mac. You can see I have already gone to the icon only just to save space. I know what the icons mean, but if you want to keep the text, you can, or you can just go text only if you like. For those using laptops, text only is often preferred because it uses the least amount of space on your small screen. You still have the same options underneath, so nothing will change. It's just how you're seeing it. I'm going to stick with my icon only, and I'm going to customize my toolbar. Now, you'll see that they all start to wiggle around a bit because now I can change them. The things I don't want, I'm just going to pull them right off of there. I'm not losing them. The things that I moved away, the edit tags, the share button, they're always here. I can always put them back if I want to. But what do I really want? I want to be able to create new folders with a single click. I want to be able to delete things with a single click. And I am spreading those out so that there's a little space in between them. I want them to really stand out so that I can click on them really fast and move on with my day. I'm going to say done, and now that's what my window looks like. And if I'm in my, let's say I'm in my calendars folder and I need to create a new folder, click, done, ready to title calendars for the upcoming year, 2022, 2023. Just that easy. If it's a folder that I'm done with or a document that I'm done with, trash, and it's gone. I love having those tools there. That makes my work go faster. Second thing that helps me with the tools, let's come back and add one more item. I'm going to add something called path. And I'm going to dump it over here on this side. Here's what that does for me. If I have worked my way deep into a set of folders and files, and now I'm wondering, how did I get back to here? Well, I can click the path. Here's where I am. I'm in this folder, which is inside this folder, which is inside this folder, which is inside my documents folder. I can click and come right back to my calendars and look in a different year. Let's say I want to go here. I work my way through. Nope, that's not the one I'm looking for. I can come back to calendars again. This lets me jump back and start over really quickly by knowing the pathway from where I am now all the way back to the very beginning of my computer, the screen that you get right after you log in. So I love having these additional buttons, the path bar, the add a folder, and the delete. Those really do speed up my work, and I think they might speed up your work as well. Now, let's go back to my documents folder because I want to show you a second thing that you may not have noticed just looking at it here. So I'm going to scroll down so that you can see. Look at all my folders, and then I get to my documents. Documents grouped by type. Normally, that's not what you would see. Normally, you would see things organized in alphabetical order, just like this, all mixed together, documents and folders all the way from A to Z. Here's why I changed that. I look for folders as I navigate through things more often than I'm looking for a specific document. I'm going into my documents, I'm looking for calendars. Inside that, it's organized. I can find what I need. But I know that I've had calendars for this year. I've also had revised calendars for this year. I may not remember that, so I could just look for River Street 209-day calendar. I might not get the right one. I like to work my way through folders. So I like to see my folders all on top. Then I like to see my documents down below, organized by the type of document. So using this sort button right here, I can do that. Before I do it, I want you to know you can also do it up here in the View button as you group by items. Right now they're grouped by name. I'm going to change it to kind. I'll do that right here. I'll change it to kind. So the kind of document at the top, folders. Folders are at the top in alphabetical order. And then I have my documents. I have my spreadsheets, I have my PDFs, I have saved mail messages, and then I have saved image files. All of them grouped together, much faster for me to find things that way. It took a little bit of getting used to when I first made the switch. So if you make the switch, give yourself a few days to get used to that. That may be a trick that you find very helpful. Let's go to the next tip. What's a folder that I need to look in all the time, that I'm coming to over and over and over? Let's say it is going to be our photo permissions folder. And if I'm looking in there all the time, why do I need to dig into my drive to find it? Let's just take it and bring it right out here to the side. You can see the little orange line shows where it's going to drop. I'll drop it right there. Now, no matter where I am in my computer, if I need to check photo permissions, boom, I'm right there at those folders. I do want to see those this way as well. So, I don't keep photo permissions out there all the time because it's not a folder that I use all the time. So it's just that easy to pull it away and it's gone. Now the folder's not gone. The folder is exactly where it lives in my documents folder. It's just no longer on the sidebar. So the sidebar is something that you can manipulate. You can see the things that I look at a lot: school messenger items, professional development activities, my recents, my documents. These are the things that are important, the things that I look to all the time. So find the things that you look at all the time, drop them out here on the side. That's a quick and easy way to get access, so you don't even have to navigate into your hard drive to find things. Last trick, let's back up just a little bit here. I want to back up to, let's just go here. That's what I want to see. I want to be able to see my primary folders, because what I really want to get to is my documents. Of all the folders that I have, and I do want these to be by kind. Once I undo that and kind of set it for this demonstration, it takes me a while to get them all set back in order. Once I get things set the way I want, now I know documents is the folder that I go to more than anything. I have it out here on the side. That's great. I'm also going to take it and I'm going to drag it right down here to my dock. And it will create space for it, and I'm going to stick it right there. Now, without even opening my hard drive, I can come to Documents, and when I click, it will show me those document folders. I don't like that view. I'm going to right-click on it and say, I want to see it as a list. Let's see how that would look. Now I see, here's my folders. I can navigate inside my folders, inside my staff development folders, my Google Extra Skills, working with filters and slicers, and there's the screenshot that I want. It makes it so easy for me to navigate my documents folder without even having to go into my hard drive. Everything is right here for me. So that's another trick. Make that documents folder really accessible to you, and you will use that all the time. The next thing I want to share with you is working with spaces. Spaces is really about creating a different space on your computer for each of the projects or activities that you're currently actively working on. For example, a typical way that this might happen without using spaces is, here I am with my browser window open, and you can see across the top I have access to my calendar and my email and my Google Drive and a number of other tabs. These are things that I'm working on all the time throughout the day, but I also am working on a Microsoft Word document. So I can shrink this out of the way and come back here and work on updating our guidelines for social media use. But then if I need to check email or do something else, I'm going to have to come back down here and open this back up, or I get into that process of trying to move things around so I can click on the thing behind it, and eventually that gets confusing. There is a better way, and the better way is using spaces. Now, to activate spaces, you're just going to look up at the top of your keyboard, and you are going to look for the F3 key, which is going to have three little squares on it that look like this. Now, when you tap that, at the top of your screen, you are going to see desktops, a desktop for each project. Now you can see I've got a lot of blank desktops. The one that's highlighted in blue, that's the current one. And what's on that desktop right now is my power user slide and my guidelines for social media use. But you can see I've got things in other spaces there as well. And I've got some desktops that are empty. So how do I use that? Well, during the course of the day, if I need to jump over and have a chat with someone, I have both our Google Chat open where I have ongoing chats with a number of people in groups. I also have my Microsoft Teams chat open, which allows me to talk to crack tech folks. I also can jump over to this browser, which is allowing me to manage our River Street webpage, and I can check on it and see if we've got new messages that are coming in that maybe I need to respond to in some way, or do I need to update our page. I also keep TweetDeck open because I'm taking a look at what's happening with our Twitter account for River Street. So I have all those things going on at the same time. But why all the blank spaces? Well, the blank spaces are for the other projects that I might start during the day, such as working on the guidelines for social media. So if I tap that F3 key, then I can see both of these windows. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to move it over to a different workspace. So now I've still got this open. If I need to check mail or look at my calendar, boom, now I can work on this. How am I moving back and forth between these windows? I'm holding down the control key and hitting either the left arrow or the right arrow. And that allows me to jump from space to space, or at any time I can click the F3 key and come up and just click on a space that I need to go to. But I can always drag things around between spaces. I have a lot of flexibility here, so it works great. Trust me on that. It is a great way to organize your work, let you flip through projects throughout the day. Now, there is one system preference that I would recommend that you set with this. So let's go into our system preferences, and we are going to look at mission control, because that's where we control spaces. And the one thing that I would do is I would make sure this is not checked, automatically rearranging spaces based on most recent use. The reason for that is because I like to have my browser and my chat right at the front of all of my spaces all the time. I am accustomed to that. That's what's comfortable for me. I know that the social media stuff is on the far right. I scroll over there. I only look at those a couple of times a day. So I've got my most active things in desktop 1 and 2. Projects I'm working on during the day can be 3, 4, and 5. Things that I check towards the end of the day, 6 and 7. That's how I like for it to be. If suddenly there's a lot of activity on our Facebook page, I've updated a Throwback Thursday post and there's some comments and someone leaves a message and I've looked at that several times, suddenly the computer will take this space and move it all the way up to the front, which is not what I want. So I want to make sure that I'm not allowing the computer to make changes based on my recent use. I want to be in charge of where things go. I want to move them around and put them where I want, and then I want them to stay there. That's what helps me. If I have to guess where they are as I start flipping left and right on the arrows, then it's not really saving me any time anymore. I want to be able to count on where they are. You can always add more spaces by clicking this plus sign over here. That will give you more spaces to work for. You can get rid of some. If you've got too many open and you just aren't using them all, you can always cut down on things. I think the maximum number is 16, but I'm not exactly sure. I've never hit the maximum number. I usually have 5, 6, 7 desktop spaces open at a time, usually using 4 or 5 of them during the course of a day. So that is working with spaces, and that's also a great tip built right into your computer to help you work more efficiently throughout the day. While we are talking about things that are just built right into the computer, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about some keyboard shortcuts. I know not a lot of people are fans of those. They like to take their hand off the keyboard, click around with the mouse to get things done. There is nothing wrong with that. If that's what works best for you, then I encourage you to keep doing that. But I also would encourage you to at least give a try to learning a few keyboard commands, because without having to take your hand off the keyboard over to the mouse and do a bunch of clicking, sometimes you can save time. So I will talk about a few here. I'll even demonstrate a couple. Don't try to remember all these or write them down. There will be a handout that lists all the ones I'm going to talk about, plus a few more. And these are just some of the ones that I think might be helpful for you. Do you think I remember all of these? I absolutely do not. I have a tiny printout of the keyboard commands that I use most often taped to my monitor. So I have a reference for those commands. Feel free to do the same. It was easy. I just took this handout that I'm going to send you, deleted the things that I don't use, saved the rest, shrunk it down to like an 8-point font, printed it out, all set. So let's talk about a few keyboard commands. I think the thing that most people know are things like Command C for copy, Command V for paste, Command W for closing a window, Command Q for quitting an application. Those are the kinds of things that most people have used long enough that they remember them. But there are a few text commands that come in to be very helpful if you know a few more. So other than Command C and Command V for copy and paste, Command B, bold, Command I, italics. Those are changes to fonts that I use often. No reason to have to go and click on the B on the toolbar when I can do it right on the keyboard. Command A selects all of my text or all of anything in the document so that I can make adjustments. A key one to know, and I'll demonstrate that one right here in our Power Users logo, is how to correct a mistake. If I accidentally delete something, Command Z undoes it. Command Z always undoes the last thing you did, as long as it hasn't been saved. Changes haven't been saved. So if you delete something or type something wrong or just need to back up one step, Command Z undoes that. That's a great tool to have in your back pocket. Another tool that I often talk about just for fun, but can also have some other purposes, is a quick access to your emoji keyboard. Now, a lot of people don't even realize there is an emoji keyboard built into the Mac, but there is. And Command Control Space pops that open on your screen. And you can go through and use the typical emojis that you would see on your phone. They're all going to be in there. So if you want to add those to spice up an email that's not totally professional, but you're trying to lighten something up a little bit, you can do that. If you're creating something that you're going to share with students, you can make it more interesting. But in addition to the things that we would normally see in an emoji keyboard, I can click here on the right and go into additional symbols. If you need to add symbols in something that you're creating for staff or for students, those are going to be here. Those are nice tools to have at your disposal. It can be just arrows to pointing in a certain direction. Maybe you need to indicate something on a computer. So here's the symbol for the command key. Here's the symbol for the erase or the backspace or delete key. So there are different symbols there as well. All the math symbols are going to be here, symbols all the way to the end, things you probably wouldn't use because there's so many of them, but it's nice to know that all of these are available to you just with a click of your keyboard. Another thing that's nice to know is how quickly you can delete something. We talked about changing the toolbar when you have a Finder window open, but what if you don't? What if you've just got something out here on your desktop, like this screenshot that I took that I don't need? I can right-click on that and delete it. I can drag it to the trash can and try to make it drop over the trash can, or I can just hit Command Delete and it's gone. That's how easy it is to get rid of something. So keep that in mind. A thing that people often ask me about when they see me do presentations is, how do you make this little bar pop up on your screen that shows you your open applications? That's Command Tab. That's called your app switcher. It lets you switch to any of the open apps that you have open on your computer. I'm going to stick with Chrome because that's where I want to stay for now, but it's just that easy to switch tabs, or rather to switch to a different application. Make sure you know your screenshot commands. We've talked about those a lot. Shift Command 3 takes the whole screen. Shift Command 4 lets you select a part of your screen that you want to take a screenshot of. It's great to have screenshots especially if you're having a problem with your computer. If something is going wrong, you can take a screenshot of the error message or what you're seeing on your screen and then send that in to the tech department. It makes it so much easier for them to diagnose and solve the problem. A few commands that are unique just to while you're using the Chrome browser, because so many of us spend so much time inside our Chrome browser. And one of the things that I am doing all the time is finding a website that I want to share with someone else. And so I end up having to go up here and try to click in the bar, and sometimes it highlights it all, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm trying to slowly scroll and get it all, and it doesn't even all fit in the bar. That can be a pain. Shortcut for that, Command L. Command L always highlights the entire URL ready to be copied and shared with someone. That's a great one. We all know Command T will give us a new browser window. That's a nice trick to know. One thing that people love to know is what to do when they lose a browser window. Let's say I close this window, closed it by mistake. Command Shift T brings it back open. So that's a great tool as well. A lot of tabs open up there. If I hit my Control, Shift, and Tab, I can jump backwards on my tabs. If I don't hit the Control, Shift, Tab, but just hit Control, Tab, I can move forward. So it's a quick way to bounce around between all your open tabs. That's a great tool to have in your hand. The last thing I want to show you are a few commands specific to working in Google Sheets, because we do spend a lot of time in Google Sheets, and this is the sheet I want to show you because it goes from column A to column Z, and without scrolling down, I will promise you it goes all the way to row 1000. And sometimes you just need to jump around within a sheet. What's the quickest way to get there without scrolling down? Because you don't know how far it goes. All you have to do is hold down your command key and hit your right arrow. That will jump you to the last column that has text. If I hold the command key and hit the down arrow, it will take me all the way to the last row that has text. Now, if I hit command up again, I'm back to the very top of my spreadsheet. So those command and arrow keys will help you navigate a large spreadsheet so much faster. Now again, there's a handout with all of these plus more. Look for some that you think will be advantageous to you, and hopefully they will help you speed up your work on the computer. As we wrap up this first video with things that are sort of built into your system, I'm going to expand that just a bit and talk about things that are built into Chrome or that we can add to Chrome because we use Chrome so often. So this is really just a little bit to slip in there to prompt you not to forget about adding extensions to your Google Chrome, because extensions really are there to extend the power and convenience of using your browser. There will be a handout with my 10 top recommended extensions. I am not going to demonstrate those 10 for you right now. I will quickly mention 3 that I hope you will take a look at. The first is Bitly, and that's what you're looking at on the screen right this moment. Not everyone will need this, but if you have to create and share a lot of links with other staff or with families or with LEAs, this can be a nice feature for you. This lets you take one of those long URLs that are meaningless pieces of code and turn it into something so that someone clicking on it knows what they're clicking on. For example, if I take our logo slide here and I've got that long URL at the top, if I copy that and send that to you, you don't know what you're clicking on really. But in Bitly, I can just say create, I paste it there, click create, and now it gives me a tiny little thing, and I'm just going to say power user logo. Save it. And now, if I copy and send it to someone, that's what they get. It just says bit.ly/power user logo. So I can come back and copy and paste my account. It's a free account. I don't pay for the extras, but I can come back and copy this anytime I want to share that with someone, and they will see this as the link rather than the long link we pasted, this long thing up here. People tend to be a little nervous. Is this taking me to a spam place? Once you clean it up a little bit and tell them where you're sending them, people are more comfortable with that. So if you have to share a lot of links, that's a nice thing. The other thing I just want to mention is something called power scissors, or tab scissors and tab glue. They are powerful. I'm going to use this as my demonstration. This is a sample spreadsheet, and I am taking a class online to learn how to create this. The reason it takes a class is because almost every cell in this spreadsheet has a formula. And so I am learning how to put in all of these formulas. So there's the model, and then here's my copy. I need to look back and forth on them at the same time without constantly clicking back and forth. Tab scissors lets me split my browser right in that spot. Now I have them side by side. I can look at the formula model in one, put that in the other, and when I'm all done, I can come back to my tab glue, and tab glue will glue my browser back together in that spot. So that's a great feature for being able to see two tabs side by side when you need a reference. The final thing I would recommend, which I'm not going to show you here, is Kami, K-A-M-I. It is a great extension that allows you to edit PDF files that are stored inside your Google Drive. I would say I've pretty much wrapped up this first video for you. The last thing I would say is no matter what you're doing in your computer, with your Finder, with your browser, with whatever, remember that right-clicking is your friend. Almost anywhere that you right-click, you will get a menu with some options. Everywhere I go, I get a menu with options. In every cell, I get a menu with options. If I minimize this and click on the Finder, I'm going to get a menu with options. Everything that I open, I get a menu with options. When you're not sure what to do, but you think you should be able to find a way to get something done, try a right-click. That can be one of your best friends. That brings us to the end of our first Power Users video. Hopefully you found some things in there that you think will be beneficial for you. Like I said in the beginning, give some of them a try. It may take a little while to get used to them. Once you get used to them, you may find that you use them all the time. If you made it all the way through this video, thank you for your patience. I know it was a long one. We've got 3 more to go. They are not all this long, so hopefully we can move through some of these things a little bit more quickly. Next time we will look at solutions for a problem that many of us have, and that is, what do we do as we gather things that we want to use later? It's all about curation and the best way to do that. So I will see you in our next video as you become a power user.